Dear Ma endured long hours of labor under the demanding watch of her stepmother, Nina. The townsfolk felt sad for Dear Ma, who tirelessly responded to Nina's constant calls to cook, clean, and fetch water. Despite her relentless efforts to please her stepmother and stepsisters, Dear Ma struggled to meet their demands. Dear Ma's mother had passed away many years ago. She lived with her devoted father, Togar, who refused to remarry out of concern for Dear Ma's well-being. Despite the urging of his mother and other elders in the town to consider remarriage, Togar was hesitant, fearing that a stepmother might mistreat his beloved daughter. When Dear Ma turned 14, she felt very sad. Her dad, Togar, asked her why she was feeling this way. Dear Ma shared that she really wished she had a mom, like her friends. She needed a mother to care and love her. Touched by how much his daughter wanted a mom, Togar promised to find a nice person to be like a mother and make Dear Ma happy again. Out of the blue, Dear Ma thought of a good idea. She suggested that her friend's mom, Nina, could be a good match for her dad. She is very nice. She gives me food and clothes. Togar thought it was interesting and agreed to check it out. But that same night, Nina came to the house and introduced herself to Togar. Togar welcomed her warmly and thanked her for being so kind to Dear Ma. Nina continued to visit the house, bringing delicious food and helping with cleaning and other chores to make Dear Ma's work easier. Togar was pleased with these positive changes, but he wanted to ensure that Nina was truly a good person. He planned to inquire about her. However, Dear Ma kept asking, "When will Mommy Nina come to live with us?" Togar then told Dear Ma, "My dearest Dear Ma, you are the reason I've remained unmarried all this time. I've been hesitant, fearing that a stepmother might mistreat you. Some people are motivated solely by money and possessions, and I've always wanted to protect you from those who might take advantage. Your grandmother has been a tremendous help in raising you, and I can't fathom why you're advocating for Nina now." Dear Ma replied, "Daddy, I love Grandma a lot, and I'm thankful for everything she does, but I miss some things a mom does, like talking, sharing stories, and getting advice about growing up. It's not that I don't appreciate Grandma. I just want a different kind of love. I don't think Mommy Nina cares about your money and stuff. She works hard and is a good person. I promise we won't have any problems." "Daddy, Mommy Nina has already been like a mom to me," she added, trying to reassure him. Togar sighed and spoke. "I understand, my dear. Families can be different. Grandma has always been there for us, and now, if you think Nina is good for us, I'll give it a try. Let's wait and see what happens." Nina and Togar continue in a relationship, and before long, Dear Ma was at her father's feet again, advocating for Nina. She said, "Daddy, Mommy Nina has been a very good mother to me, and I see how happy she makes you. Having Mommy Nina feels like the last piece of our family puzzle is finally in place." They both hoped that the changes would make them happy. Togar's plan was to inquire about Nina before he made any decision about marriage, but he saw the love Nina showed he and his Dear Ma and how happy Dear Ma has become. And before he knew it, he was married to Mommy Nina.
Subscribe for Everything Africa for more tales and click the notification bell so you never miss an adventure. More exciting content awaits.
Everything was going well at Togar's house. Stepmother Mommy Nina was kind, and the stepsisters treated Dear Ma like a little sister. Their home was full of warmth and laughter. Papa Togar accepted the job he had always wanted in the big city, Monrovia. He felt relaxed leaving for his job, trusting Mommy Nina to take good care of the girls. He planned to visit Tinway Town every 2 months for a weekend, and when the kids had a break from school, they would visit him in the big city. Grandma would watch over the children when Mommy Nina couldn't be there. It was a plan that made everyone feel good. One day, as Mommy Nina was cleaning the house, she found some papers. There was a deed for the house in Tinway Town, the village farmland, and even houses in Monrovia and Buchanan. Mommy Nina discovered that Togar was a wealthy man. His wealth also included stocks, bonds, and a huge bank account. He also had businesses that were thriving in Monrovia. Togar had never told her about all his money. She also found a will where everything Togar owned was willed to Dear Ma. This made Mommy Nina furious, and from that day, things changed. What about my children? I'm the one taking care of the home. My children don't have any security and their father is useless. They deserve a good future. I should be in control of all this property. I heard he was rich, but I had no idea how rich. I'm his wife. Why didn't he tell me? Mommy Nina thought. Maybe he doesn't want me to know because he wants to give all this wealth to that little girl and leave my children out. Mommy Nina hatched a plan, and soon the happiness in the house crumbled. Dear Ma missed the times when it was just her and her dad, and now she felt really sad. She had nobody to share her feelings with. Marpu and Marvois, who used to be nice and encouraged her, now acted like they didn't care. In the past, they would comb her hair, give her hugs, and show love. But now, it felt like they weren't true sisters. Dear Ma felt let down and all alone. Nina constantly talked to Togar, telling him how well the girls were doing. Most times, Dear Ma couldn't talk to her dad because Nina would say she was busy reading or playing with her sisters. When Dear Ma did talk to her dad, Nina would sit next to her with an angry face. Dear Ma didn't tell her daddy what was really happening, so Togar didn't know about the hard time his daughter was having. He believed the fake stories Nina made up, and Dear Ma quietly lived in pain. When Togar visited Tinway Town, Mommy Nina would stay close to him all the time. This made it hard for anyone to talk to him privately. Because Dear Ma was scared of her stepmother and stepsisters, she acted like everything was fine. She remembered telling her dad not to worry when she was convincing him to marry Mommy Nina, so she didn't want to make him sad now. She thought, even though Nina and my sisters are mean to me, they love my dad, and I want to see him happy. I'll be a big girl and handle this. They might change when they see I'm a good person. When Togar was in Tinway Town, Mommy Nina behaved nice to Dear Ma. She would comb her hair and give her less work. Even her stepsisters would be kind to her. But Dear Ma would be quiet and withdraw to her room. Togar noticed how quiet his daughter had become and asked Nina and Dear Ma about it. Nina said it was just part of growing up, and Dear Ma said she was fine. But when Togar went back to the big city, Nina became even more wicked. The once happy home became a scary place for Dear Ma, as she faced her fears in silence. One day, Nina announced she was going to have a baby. Initially, Togar was surprised because he thought Nina couldn't have more children. Togar was also happy because Dear Ma was his only biological child, and he had always wanted more kids. However, after his wife passed away, he had lost his enthusiasm for expanding the family. When Togar visited Zondo Town and shared the exciting news with Dear Ma, he noticed she wasn't as thrilled. Concerned about his daughter's feelings, Togar discussed the matter with Nina. Nina reassured him, saying it's normal for an only child to feel a bit jealous, but she believed Dear Ma would be happy once the baby arrived. As time went on, Togar started getting worried, as Nina would call him every day, complaining about Dear Ma's jealous actions. She said Dear Ma refused to help with household chores and did even more disturbing things. She complained that Dear Ma put herbs in her food, causing diarrhea, and she almost lost the baby. She accused Dear Ma of putting water on the floor intentionally, causing her to slip, which could have led to a miscarriage. When Togar asked Dear Ma about her actions during his visits to Zondo Town, she would just be sad, cry, and deny everything. Togar was very disturbed. His once peaceful home had become troubled. One day, while Togar was back in the city, Nina told him that she needed to move to the city with her daughters because Dear Ma had threatened to poison them. Togar was puzzled about what had happened to his once happy and kind daughter. He became sad, and a deep sleep enveloped him. In his dream, his late wife, Dear Ma's mother, was crying and informed him that their only daughter was very sad. She told him that Dear Ma was grieving, and he needed to solve it or he would lose her soon. Togar woke up sweating, with many questions swirling in his mind. He talked with his boss, and she suggested that he visit the village unknown to his wife and see what was happening. He also needed to ask neighbors what they observed before making a decision. While it could be a part of growing up and being jealous of the unborn child, the accusations of Dear Ma trying to harm her stepmother and stepsister she once loved raised concerns about possible abuse. Togar was confused, as he saw no sign of Nina engaging in abuse, but he also remembered that dear Ma was a lovely and pleasant girl who loved her Nina and sister until he moved to Monrovia. The day after Togar had the strange dream and discussed it with his boss, he tried to talk to dear Ma, but Nina said she was busy studying. Nina seemed upset and sad. She asked Togar when they would move to the city and what they would do about dear Ma. She suggested taking dear Ma to a church that could remove demons. Nina emphasized that dear Ma was a loving child, but she suspected dear Ma was under the influence of a demon. Togar agreed without arguing because he had a plan. That same night, Togar started his journey to Zondo's town. He arrived at 6 a.m. and went straight to his friend Sundegar's house. It was Wednesday. Sundegar was surprised to see Togar so early and so anxious. Togar hadn't been in town much since marrying Nina. When he visited every 2 months, he rarely spent time with friends, as Nina consumed all his time. Sundegar looked at his friend and said, "If a man visits his friend this early, and with such anxiety, either something is chasing him or he's chasing something. So, Togar, my friend, what brings you here so early?" Togar explained that trouble was chasing him. He shared his family problems, saying, "Dear Ma had a good relationship with Mommy Nina, but after Nina got pregnant, dear Ma became very jealous, to the point of attempting to harm Nina and the girls with poison. Nina suggested an exorcism for dear Ma. My brother Sundegar, I hope you have observed something, especially since dear Ma is close to your daughter, and you are our very close neighbor." He went on to say that he had a dream about dear Ma's mom, and in the dream, she told him that dear Ma was grieving, and he would lose dear Ma soon if something wasn't done. My boss advised me that this could be a case of abuse, so I should visit the house unknown to Nina. Sundegar said, "I've been waiting for this day. I know it's not your doing because you love dear Ma's mother too much to let this happen." It was 6:15 a.m., and he continued, "If you can wait another 10 minutes, you'll see dear Ma stop by for breakfast with my daughter before they head to school. That is, if she's allowed to go to school today." Togar looked shocked and asked, "Why wouldn't she go to school? Does she skip classes?" Sundegar explained, "How can she go to school when she has all the house chores, plus caring for Nina's daughters? She has to ensure they've eaten and are dressed for school before leaving." Togar screamed, "You mean Nina's daughters?" "Yes," Sundegar continued. "The townsfolk tried discussing dear Ma's suffering, but we couldn't reach you. Some people think you're part of this abuse because of your new wife." "And what's this pregnancy Nina is talking about?" "If Nina is pregnant, then my 85-year-old mother is also pregnant. How did you end up with this Nina? Don't you know her? She lived in Jacko Town, was married to Coco the criminal, and they had 5 children. 3 of her kids are in jail, and she was left with the 2 girls. Nina's oldest child is almost 45. My brother, let me tell you, that woman is not pregnant. So how can dear Ma be jealous?" Togar cried, "Coco's ex-wife? Oh my God, she has never mentioned it. All she told me was that her husband passed." Sundegar interjected, "It is not her responsibility to tell you. How does it help her if she tells you she's Coco, the criminal's ex-wife, when there are decent single women in this town? It is your responsibility to know more about a woman whom you marry, especially when she has children." At this point, Togar was confused and said, "Sundegar, it was dear Ma who made me marry this woman. You know how much I love dear Ma, and I didn't investigate. Dear Ma was sad until I married her." Sundegar explained, "That was your first mistake. Should our children, moreover a teenager, tell us who to marry, we are the ones who should guide our children on such matters." Not long after, dear Ma entered the house in a hurry, looking unkempt. She quickly spoke to Sundegar and the man she didn't recognize and asked for her friend. She hurriedly went to her friend's room. Her friend tried to fix her hair, she wore her uniform, and they both quickly ate their food. As they hurried to school, a familiar voice called her, "Dear Ma." She looked, and it was her dad. She was so happy to see him and cried. He asked her, "Why haven't you told me or your grandmother what was going on? I'm so sorry, my dear Ma." She was sad, and she said, "Papa Togar, she loves you. The kids love you, so I didn't want to spoil your happiness. I'm a big girl, I can stand it. It won't be long. When I grow up, I will go to college, and she will not be mean to me anymore." Her dad cried and said, "It ends today." She said, "No, Papa Togar. She is going to have a baby for me." Togar replied, "No, dear Ma. She lied to us. She is not having a baby. She is a bad woman and needs to get out of our lives. I will never leave you alone. I am taking you with me to the city. I only accepted the job because we thought she was genuine." He hugged dear Ma, and they cried.
Subscribe for Everything Africa for more tales and click the notification bell so you never miss an adventure. More exciting content awaits.
Togar and Sunday Gar rushed to the house. Mama Nina, not expecting Togar, ran out, yelling for dear Ma to come and finish her chores. She was surprised when she saw Togar. One look at Nina, and Togar, burning with anger, confirmed that Nina was not pregnant. Togar quickly went past her, went to the room, and started throwing her clothes out. Nina got on her knees and cried for mercy. Togar repeated all the gossip he had heard about her. She admitted it was all true, but she claimed to love dear Ma and Togar very much. Togar asked her how she could love dear Ma, yet treat her like a slave. She continued to cry, asking for forgiveness. Togar did not accept any apologies. He packed her and her children's clothing and told them to leave. Nina and her daughters left the house crying. Dear Ma was happy again, knowing that her daddy loved her no matter what. As for Nina, after she left that day, no one in the town saw her again. There were only rumors that she had joined a cult and become one of its mothers. The lessons we learn from dear Ma and Nina's story are that negative behavior and deceit have serious consequences, and such behavior will eventually be exposed. Kindness will always overpower evil. Dear Ma longed for a mother and siblings, so she welcomed Nina into her father's life, and they eventually married. Despite being treated cruelly, dear Ma responded with kindness. In the end, Nina's deceit was exposed, and she faced disgrace. The story teaches us not to be evil, as goodness and truth will ultimately prevail.
Subscribe for Everything Africa for more tales and click the notification bell so you never miss an adventure. More exciting content awaits.
Togar and Sunday Gar rushed to the house. Mama Nina, not expecting Togar, ran out, yelling for dear Ma to come and finish her chores. She was surprised when she saw Togar. One look at Nina, and Togar, burning with anger, confirmed that Nina was not pregnant. Togar quickly went past her, went to the room, and started throwing her clothes out. Nina got on her knees and cried for mercy. Togar repeated all the gossip he had heard about her. She admitted it was all true, but she claimed to love dear Ma and Togar very much. Togar asked her how she could love dear Ma, yet treat her like a slave. She continued to cry, asking for forgiveness. Togar did not accept any apologies. He packed her and her children's clothing and told them to leave. Nina and her daughters left the house crying. Dear Ma was happy again, knowing that her daddy loved her no matter what. As for Nina, after she left that day, no one in the town saw her again. There were only rumors that she had joined a cult and become one of its mothers. The lessons we learn from dear Ma and Nina's story are that negative behavior and deceit have serious consequences, and such behavior will eventually be exposed. Kindness will always overpower evil. Dear Ma longed for a mother and siblings, so she welcomed Nina into her father's life, and they eventually married. Despite being treated cruelly, dear Ma responded with kindness. In the end, Nina's deceit was exposed, and she faced disgrace. The story teaches us not to be evil, as goodness and truth will ultimately prevail.
Subscribe for Everything Africa for more tales and click the notification bell so you never miss an adventure. More exciting content awaits.
Togar and Sunday Gar rushed to the house. Mama Nina